God, this is like a fucking coffin. Feels like a little...
Very well, may I have some turkey if you please, sir?
Absolutely. The recruiter will tell you it is a career, travel the world, learn a skill, serve your country, and all of that is true. What they do not tell you, is what the first morning actually feels like. When you wake up in a metal bunk the size of a coffin, 3 people stacked above you, jet engines shaking the ceiling, and you realize, you cannot leave. Not today, not next week, not for 9 months. This is an aircraft carrier, one of the most advanced machines ever built, home to 5,000 people, billions of dollars in equipment, and a daily reality that no recruitment poster has ever shown you. Today we are going inside the parts of carrier life nobody asks about. Sleep, food, showers, work, months at sea without sunlight, the real picture, before you sign the contract. Before we get into it, drop a comment right now. Would you be able to handle 9 months on a ship with no way out? Just type yes or no. We want to know. Where you sleep. The recruiter calls it a berthing compartment. Your bed, called a rack, is 77 inches long and 27 inches wide. That is roughly the size of a door. The mattress is 3 inches of foam, and from your face to the bottom of the rack above you, 20 inches of clearance. 20 inches. You cannot sit up. You can barely roll over. There is no reading lamp, no window, no airflow unless the ship's ventilation decides to cooperate. You are stacked 3 people high in a compartment shared with up to 60 other sailors, all working different shifts, which means someone is always coming in, someone is always leaving, someone's alarm is always going off at 4 in the morning. Your personal storage, for everything you own for the next 9 months, is a locker 10 inches wide and 22 inches deep. That is it. That is where your entire life goes. New sailors spend the first week figuring out how to sleep through the noise. Some never do. The Navy has a word for this adjustment. They call it getting your sea legs. What they mean is, your body eventually stops fighting it. Now here is something the recruiter will mention if you push hard enough. The newer Ford-class carriers have made real improvements. Smaller berthing areas, 40 people instead of 180. Attached bathrooms, better air conditioning. Progress is real. But progress and comfortable are 2 different things. And on deployment day 1, nobody is thinking about the improvement over 1987. They are thinking, this is smaller than my bedroom at home, and this is going to be my world for 9 months. Quick question, and we genuinely want to know. Drop in the comments, top bunk, middle bunk, or bottom bunk. Which one would you pick and why? The answers on these always surprise us. How you eat. Every single day, the kitchen on an aircraft carrier prepares 17,000 meals. Not 3 meals, 4. Because the ship operates around the clock, and the midnight shift needs to eat too. Over 90 trained culinary specialists work in shifts to make this happen, in kitchens where temperatures regularly exceed 135 degrees Fahrenheit. The scale is difficult to understand until you see the numbers. 1,600 pounds of chicken. Every day, 350 pounds of lettuce. Every day, 20,000 cups of coffee. Every day, a grocery bill that runs up to $65,000. Every single day. And every 7 to 10 days, a supply ship pulls alongside at sea, matches speed, and transfers up to 700,000 pounds of food via cable system while both ships are moving at the same time. That transfer has to work perfectly, because if it does not, 5,000 people start running low on food in the middle of the ocean. But here is what the numbers do not tell you. You do not get to choose when you eat. Breakfast runs from 6 in the morning to 9. If your shift ends at 8:45, you are running. If battle stations are called while you are standing in line, you drop your tray and you go. Depending on your schedule, you might not eat again for 8 hours. The menu rotates every 21 days, which sounds manageable, until you are on month 7 and you have seen that rotation 3 times over. The dining areas are also separated by rank. Enlisted sailors eat in the main mess hall. Officers eat separately. Senior officers have white tablecloths. It is a hierarchy that reaches all the way down to something as basic as where you sit for lunch. Once a month though, if it is your birthday while you are deployed, you get a meal with tablecloths, glasses, and either prime rib or lobster. It sounds like a small thing. On month 5, far from home, it is not small at all. Tell us in the comments, what is the one food from home you think you would miss most after 6 months at sea? Seriously, read through the replies on this one. People get very specific. How you stay clean. There is a technique in the Navy called a Navy shower. You turn the water on, you get wet, you turn the water off, you soak your entire body, you turn the water back on, you rinse. Total water used, about 3 gallons. A regular shower at home uses 60. This is not optional. On deployment, water discipline is not a suggestion, it is how the ship functions. Even a carrier that produces its own fresh water from the ocean has operational limits. The bathrooms, called heads, are shared by 80 to 100 people. 3 or 4 showers, 3 or 4 toilets. During shift changes, there is a line. You wait, you take your 3-gallon shower, and you move on. And then there are the days when the system clogs. The USS Gerald R. Ford, the most advanced aircraft carrier ever built, averages 2 major clogging incidents per day. When it clogs, it can take out multiple bathrooms at once. Repairs take up to 2 hours. During that time, sailors find alternatives, sometimes several decks away. The root cause of most clogs, sailors flushing things that should never go down a pipe. T-shirts, mop heads. And here is a number that will stay with you. When the clog is serious enough to require a chemical flush, that procedure costs $400,000. Every single time, $400,000. To unclog a toilet system, the Navy acknowledges this as a design flaw identified back in 2020. The pipes on the Ford class are undersized. It is being worked on. In the meantime, the sailors deal with it. The laundry situation is its own story. 150,000 pounds of clothing processed every week. In rooms where temperatures hit 120 degrees, items get lost, items get mixed up. Many sailors hand-wash their own clothes in the sink rather than risk losing their uniforms. Technically against regulation, happens constantly. The work. There are no weekends on an aircraft carrier, no holidays, no downtime. The ship operates 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and someone always has to be working. The flight deck is one of the most dangerous workplaces on the planet. Jets weighing tens of thousands of pounds move at speed across a surface that is constantly in motion. In darkness, in storms, in combat conditions. And the deck crews, many of them teenagers and 20-year-olds fresh out of high school, are responsible for aircraft worth $70 million each. Their jobs are color-coded by jersey. Yellow directs the planes, blue handles the chains and tie-downs, red manages the weapons, purple fuels the jets, green maintains the launch and recovery systems. Every color, every roll, zero margin for error, one missed step, one miscommunication, and the consequences are permanent. Below deck, the work is quieter but never less demanding. Nuclear reactor technicians go through nearly 2 years of training before they are allowed near the systems that power the ship. The standard is not high, the standard is absolute. Because when you are running a nuclear reactor 500 miles from land, there is no version of almost right. Shift schedules rotate constantly. You might work days for 2 weeks, then nights. Your body never fully adjusts. And every single morning at 7:35, all work stops. The entire ship cleans. Every space, every corridor, every surface. The Navy calls this happy hour. You clean for an hour. Then the work begins again. Here is something we want to know, and this one always gets interesting replies. Drop in the comments, if you had to pick one job on the carrier, just based on what we have described, what would you choose? Flight deck, reactor room, kitchen, or something else? Tell us below. What 9 months does to you. Most sailors on an aircraft carrier never see natural sunlight for weeks at a time. They work below deck. They sleep below deck. They eat below deck. The only way up to the flight deck is through a hatch, and during active operations, only essential personnel are allowed there. You are surrounded by 5,000 people, every hour of every day, and you can feel completely alone. The USS Dwight D. Eisenhower completed a 275-day deployment in 2024. Combat operations in the Red Sea, defending against drone attacks and ballistic missiles, running strikes, maintaining constant readiness. A sailor on that ship was asked what the hardest part was. She did not say the danger. She said, the extensions. When you have been counting down the days to go home. When your family has planned for it. When your kids know the date. And then command tells you there has been an extension. Another month, maybe 2. You keep going. Because you signed up to serve. Because the mission matters. But that moment, when the date changes, that is the moment sailors describe most when you ask them what really broke them down. The Navy has responded. Mental health resources have expanded significantly. Chaplains, licensed therapists, social workers embedded in carrier strike groups. The Eisenhower brought a facility dog on board for that deployment, a real one, trained specifically to help crew members manage the psychological weight of extended operations at sea. Internet access has changed the experience dramatically as well. Sailors can now video call home, stay connected in ways that were simply not possible 15 years ago. Commanders on recent deployments have called this one of the biggest morale improvements in a generation. But there is no technology that replaces being present. Missing the birthday. Missing the first steps. Missing the Tuesday night dinner that you only realize mattered once it is already 6 months in the past. The sailors who do multiple deployments know this going in. And they go anyway. That says something about who these people are. Why they go back. The recruiter was not lying to you. It is a career. You do see the world. You do serve something larger than yourself. But it costs something real to be out there. Months of sleep deprivation. Months without sunlight. Months away from the people who matter most. In a steel box that never stops moving and never stops demanding more from you. And yet, many sailors re-enlist. They sign up for another tour. Some do 3. Some do 4. Because alongside everything that is hard, there is something else that does not fit in any brochure. The trust that forms between 5,000 people living inside the same steel walls for months. The kind of trust that only comes from shared difficulty. From knowing that the person next to you has been through exactly what you have been through, and showed up anyway. The quiet pride of doing a job most people on land will never fully understand. The moment a jet catches the wire in the dark, and everyone on deck breathes again. The Navy does not tell you about any of that before you step on board. Some things you only learn by being there. Last question for the comments, and we read every single one of these. After everything you just heard, the bunks, the showers, the 9 months, the extensions, all of it, would you still do it? Yes, no, or only if they let you pick your bunk? Tell us below. If this gave you a different picture of what life at sea actually looks like, subscribe. Every week we go deeper on the people, the jobs, and the stories that never make it into the headlines. We will see you in the next one.